Hello, I'm your host, Linda Kasonde. I'm a lawyer who spent several years as an advocate for human rights, justice, and the rule of law in my native country, Zambia. This podcast was born out of the need to share women's experiences of leadership and to advocate for more women to take up leadership positions, based on themes in my memoir, Women, Resilience, and the Will to Lead. We cover topics ranging from motherhood to running for office, ambition, and managing the imposter syndrome. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome to another episode of Women, Resilience, and the Will to Lead. Today, our guest is none other than Ngosa Mulenga Simachela. She is a lawyer, and today we are discussing running for office, motherhood, and the need for more women in leadership. We're taking a short break. We'll be right back.
General Insurance. Protect what you cherish most. Sign up for FNB's Her Banking Insurance for your house and household contents insurance needs. As a female customer of FNB, you get cover on your home and on your household valuables with Her Banking Insurance. T's and C's apply. At FNB, we believe in helping every woman rise and are here to support you. FNB, how can we help you?
How can we help you? Hello, Ngosa.
Hello.
How are we?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Very well, thank you. It's good to see you. I hardly get to see you in the flesh these days. You've been on the run.
Yes.
Yes. And
Yeah.
now slowing down a bit.
Slowing down a bit, and thank you for having me. Pleasure
It's
to
an
be here.
Absolute delight. Ngosa is a very good friend of mine. Aside from being a lawyer, we have also worked together on the Law Association of Zambia, which is the bar association in Zambia. We were both on the council together at one point. And yeah, we've known each other for a number of years.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So tell us, Ngosa, who is Ngosa Simachela?
Who is Ngosa? Ngosa is a passionate, patriotic, purposeful Zambian woman. PPP, who trained as a lawyer. I was told never to introduce myself by what I do. So I trained as a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for 18 years, this June. Private practice. Sorry?
You're all grown up.
Yes, I am. 18 years, fully legal. And I've been in private practice for the past 18 years. Made partner in 2019. So I've been working as a partner. I'm also a wife, I'm a mother, and I'm a Zambian woman, basically.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's right. So we talked earlier about the fact that you and I have dabbled in what I call legal politics.
Yes.
That is, we sat on the council of the Law Association of Zambia, and you were on the council for 8 years. So tell us about your leadership journey over those years.
The last leadership journey. Okay, so I started out in 2009 when I was 3 years at the bar. Basically, because I thought it's important to participate and to get plugged into the affairs of the association. So that's what I did at committee level. Then after participating a little bit at committee level, I thought, why not get a seat at a bigger table? So in 2016, I ran for council member. And then after serving 2 terms, I did initially want to do one term as a council member and then move on to another position. But in 2017, I discovered I was pregnant and thought to myself, I may not be able to dedicate as much time as I really wanted to. So I made the decision to still participate as a council member, and I said I can delay this by another 2 years and look after this little one. And 2018 ran for council member. 2020 then decided I wanted a portfolio, like a specific task on the last council. So that's when I decided, why not look after Laz's bunny? So I ran for treasurer in 2020, and it was a very interesting time because the association was building Laz House. So this was a project that was conceived in years. I think it was even in your tenure as president.
Where we started it.
Yeah, where we started it. And it came to a head in 2020. The actual construction began. So as treasurer, I was given that as a project lead. So basically just managing the relationships with the contractor, with our architect and project consultant. Did that for 2 years. Last House was launched in 2022. And by that time, I'd become vice president of the association. So basically, those are the sorts of portfolios that I've served under in LAS. And one of the things I wanted to say just about that journey is it wasn't always seeing myself as a leader. A lot of the times people said to me, well, you can do this. So that spurred me on. So that's been a bit about my leadership journey and just the role of other people identifying your strengths and characteristics as a leader, which you may not see yourself sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, so there are a couple of things you've mentioned here we'll get back to, but I also want us to talk about your leadership journey outside of LAS, because I know, for example, that you have been on the Ladies Circle organization for quite some time, and I believe you've been a president of the Ladies Circle at some point?
I've been a chairperson of my circle.
Right, okay, so that was another leadership position. So tell us about that, why you got involved in it. Obviously, it's about women leading women.
Yes.
Maybe you can also explain a little bit about Ladies Circle.
Okay. So Ladies Circle is a charitable organization for women aged between 18 and 45. So in Zambia, we have various groupings, which are called circles, depending on location. So we have some in Lusaka, some on the Copperbelt, Kitwendola, Solwezi, we had Livingston, we had Kabwe. So it's women basically networking, first of all, being friends, and then carrying out charity projects. So I was inducted into Lusaka Ladies Circle number 2, which is based here in Lusaka. That was in 2017, and rose through the ranks there as well. I started out as the secretary of the circle, was in charge of the projects that we did, the charity project, and then vice chairperson, and then chairperson of the council. So that's what I did in Ladies Circle as a leader. I actually tried, I think twice, to get into the top leadership of Ladies Circle Zambia. That's another story about running for office, but did that. Wasn't successful, but I was happy to have served as chairperson of my circle, a great band of women, comprised of women from all professions. We've got accountants, we've got some lawyers, we've got educators. So I've learned to network with a wide variety of women from Ladies Circle.
Okay, that's fantastic. So now we're just going to unpack that journey a little bit. So starting with your initial decision to stand for a council position at the Law Association of Zambia. And for those of you who might not be familiar with the Law Association of Zambia, it is a professional organization. It regulates the legal profession in Zambia. It not only regulates the profession, but it also has a statutory mandate to promote human rights, the rule of law, and social justice in Zambia. So it's a very high-profile role. The organization itself is very well respected. So we have a boss lady right here. So starting with the council position, how did you decide you actually wanted to go for that?
It's about wanting to do a little bit more. You know, the last council works through its committees. So those are smaller sort of groups and smaller tasks that you're given. And in 2016, I thought to myself, I think I need to do a bit more and just make sure that I'm able to actually deliver. You know, at committee level, it's actually very easy to get away with not doing anything. You can be a member of a committee and not do much, but I wanted somewhere where I could be able to showcase who I was, the initiatives that I had, and just to be able to participate at that level. And I thought it was a good start. So sort of safe, if you would like me to put it that way, sort of a safe sort of place to start in terms of leadership and legal politics. So that was what motivated me to be a council member.
Okay, And you mentioned that the second time you ran for council member, you were pregnant at the time and you were thinking of not standing.
Yes.
Tell us about what persuaded you to go ahead.
At that time, I thought I had done quite well as a council member between 2016 and 2018. I thought to myself, if I didn't participate and sort of took a break to raise my daughter, I would be forgotten. You know, that was one of my motivations. And I said, look, I think I've done a pretty good job. And even if I won't be able to travel to the annual general meeting, which is a place where you get to canvass for more votes, I think my work speaks for itself. So why not, right? I will do my best from base, which was in Lusaka, because at the time the AGM was being convened. That was, I think, April of 2018. And I had just delivered my baby in March. She's a Women's Day baby, Kanisa. She was born on the 8th of March. So I thought traveling with a 1-month-old would be a little bit too much. So I'll campaign from where I am and let my work speak for itself so that I wouldn't be forgotten. You know, 2 years is a long time. I thought if I step away and try and come back, it might be difficult. So I was persuaded because I thought I had done quite a good job in 2016 to 2018. I was unable to take up a bigger portfolio, but I thought, I think I can participate even at this level while tending to my family. Yeah.
And many people can, many women especially out there, can relate to that struggle between family, managing motherhood specifically,
Yes.
and going for a big job. So I think well done to you there for stepping up. And even though you didn't go for an executive position at that time, you still put yourself forward. And I think that's so important.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was a really good move.
Thank you. Thank you. And just to add on to that, I was really spurred on as well by close family and friends. They helped make that decision. And even my husband was like, you know, why not? Why are you discouraging yourself? Why? Just go ahead. Go and do it. And that made the decision much easier because I needed him to support me at home. So if he was saying, you know, you can do this, carry on. If I need to babysit, I'll do this. Is my daughter. These are my kids too. So, you know, you push on with your journey. So that sort of support really, really helps. It
We
really
love
makes a
supportive
difference.
dads.
Yes.
Fantastic, and well done to him too.
Yeah, thank you.
So Ngosa, after you did a second year as council member, you then decided to move up into the executive of the Law Association of Zambia. And for those viewers out there who are not familiar, so the council is the governing body of the Law Association, but there are 4 executive members: the president, the vice president, the honorary secretary, and the treasurer. So the treasurer was an executive position that you decided to go for.
Yes.
And maybe of note as well is the fact that you are one of the only women to have stood for that position. I'm not sure you are the only.
No.
Historically.
I don't think I'm the only one. I actually did try to dig out this information, you know, even when I ran, because I think at the time I couldn't think of any other, but I know that there must have been.
I think sort of the women who are currently, I'd say, about 20 years older than us.
Yeah.
I think in that generation there was somebody.
Typically, it wasn't. It isn't a position that most women
go for.
Go for.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And lawyers in general, you know, we're terrible at numbers. So well done for managing the building project, keeping the numbers right. And we now have a very, very lovely Las house, which I'm proud of as a member as well.
Yeah, very proud.
Yeah. That was an interesting journey. Tell us what it was like to get to the top echelons of that governing body of the Law Association, because it's a step. It's different from being a council member, an ordinary council member.
Yeah.
And I think maybe you and I can relate to this as well. I think every step up that I took on the ladder of the Law Association of Zambia, I felt the the difference in the weight of the office. So tell us about that.
Oh, that's so true. You know, as a council member, it's easy to coast along, but once you get to the executive level, you really can't. You really can't. You have to give the job your all, because even like treasury, all the money decisions, everyone turns to you. So it even involved actually learning a little bit more about accounts and management and things like that, because it's a role that you just couldn't coast along. You really needed to know your numbers. You really needed to know your stuff. So it's a great deal of responsibility being on the executive. And it's also a more day-to-day sort of role, because you are involved with what the secretariat is doing. And I remember as treasurer, it was during COVID, so we were not able to interact the way that we used to. So I needed to come up with systems of managing the funds even when I'm not able to go to secretariat. So it took a little bit of innovation, because it was different from how things had been done in the past. So it's responsibility. You need to be creative and also keep your eyes on the ball. Because for me, I was thinking to myself, running the money affairs of LAS, I want to be able to deliver clean books at all the AGMs. I want to be able to manage the project very well. We had a specific building contract with terms. I knew those terms like the back of my hand. So it does require quite a lot of dedication, quite a lot of time as well. I remember it's a COVID story. So we were working from home, and my youngest daughter comes to knock on my home office, and she was like, "Mommy," and I didn't open. And you know, she knocked again, and then she was like, "HT." It's short for her, because she knows that would
Honorary
get my
treasurer. So she got her attention.
So she knows now this one's going to get her attention. So to your question, the pressure increases as you go up, because a lot more is expected of you. And then after that, moving on to the role of vice president, the pressure again increases, because you realize that, you know, a lot depends on the decisions that you make, the leadership that you show. And for me, being part of that council, I was also looked to as the more experienced one, because I'd been serving on council for a longer period of time. So people want to hear your voice on a lot of matters, because they say, look, how was it done in the past? What can we learn from councils gone past, which you have been a part of? How did they handle these particular set of circumstances and decisions? So yes, the barometric pressure does increase as you go up.
Absolutely. I definitely felt that when I moved from ordinary council member. I think the two highest pressure jobs in LAS are probably, for me, they were honorary secretary.
Yes.
Second to that was vice president, actually. I think it was a little easier, because you weren't also running the secretariat. And then the presidency was a whole other level, I tell you. But earlier you talked about how initially you were reluctant to take up leadership positions. That sounds a lot to me like the imposter syndrome. Tell us about that and how you've overcome, or how you are overcoming it.
You know, it's you need to grow, I think, in the confidence in your abilities. I think that's what I struggled a little bit with, is actually knowing that I can do the job and do it well. Not just do it, but do it well. Because people will say you can, but if you don't feel it inside, you won't take ownership of the tasks that are given to you. So it took a lot in terms of actually knowing that I'm capable. I shouldn't doubt myself. I shouldn't doubt my abilities. And if I need to learn something about a particular area, I should just go ahead and learn and then do the work. Yeah, so it's been a continuous sort of thing to always have trust in my abilities and in my solutions.
And I think, you know, for many women, while we get to a stage where we kind of make peace with the imposter syndrome, in the sense that we know we can we have proven
What it takes,
ourselves.
yeah.
Somehow it's always lurking in the background, and it's a constant battle, I have to say.
It is. I agree. Like I said, it's really something that you face day to day. Well, not day to day, but frequently. You tend to doubt whether you're really able to do something. That voice keeps coming back. Yeah, but just growing in confidence and also focusing on your successes. I think a lot of the time we're a bit hard on ourselves. We want to focus on areas where we might have failed, but I think the good outweighs the bad.
Absolutely.
So if you focus on what you've done very well, recall those incidents and how you felt and what you did to get to that point where you succeeded, I think then that lowers the volume of the negative little critical voice of your abilities. Yeah.
So, Ngosa, we've discussed your last journey,
Yes.
and we've talked about your ascendancy all the way to vice president of the association. Now, that was a huge role, and you know, as there are also very few women who've occupied that position. But you then decided that you were ready to go for the top job as president of the Law Association of Zambia. Tell us about your decision to do that and how the campaign went.
So in January of 2024, I needed to think a little bit deeply about the journey. I mean, when you take on the role of vice president, obviously keep it in the back of your head. Like, what am I going to do after that? But then you've got work to do. So to be honest, when I started the role of vice president, I hadn't made up my mind, made up. But when I got to January of this year, I said, look, the elections are in 4 months. I really need to know what I'm going to do thereafter. So in January of 2024, I made up my mind that I think I'd garnered sufficient experience and I was basically ready to take on the helm of the association. I did consult. I mean, you can't make a decision like that really on your own. So I spoke to close friends. I spoke to family as well, because I knew that in that role I was going to have to lean on and depend on them a bit. I spoke to my partners at the law firm, because we always joke about how they are lending me to the association. So I said I needed to get their support as well, because that's a very, very big role. So I think everyone around me was happy to support my decision. So I began to basically, you know, lay out what that journey to being president would look like. So it was also very busy. So it was tricky balancing the actual work that you had to do versus your initial discussions with people about running for office. So it was a very, very tricky balance. But the nomination day came and I put my name in the hat and said, I'm going to give this a shot and run for president. And that's how April of 2024 just, it flew. It really, really did. It was 3 weeks of campaigning, but it felt like 3 years. It was quite intense. Yeah, very intense.
Now, we're talking about running for office.
Yeah.
Tell the people what it involves, particularly as a woman who's, you know, vying for a very prominent role. Tell us about that journey.
That journey. First of all, running for office, your first foot in the door is actually making up your mind. So I checked that and said, I've made up my mind, I want to offer myself. But then actually putting yourself out there. There's so many fears, I think, that go through your mind and went through my mind going into running for office. First of all, it's basically your fear of, I mean, when you put your name in the hat, for my race, there were 2 of us. So you know that it's either your contender or it's you. So the fear of losing an election is actually very, very real. But you need to tell yourself, and I think that's what I told myself, that look, the only way that I'll know is if I actually participate. I didn't want to live with the regret to, you know, come out of that season and think, well, I should have. So I said, let me put my name in the hat and give this my best shot. So campaigning as a woman is very different, I think, from when you're campaigning and putting yourself out there as a man. Right? I got asked very different questions, and all the time I kept thinking to myself, are they asking
your opponent,
my opponent the very same questions? Because, you know, you get asked, why now? And I'm thinking, why do I need to explain? You know, why can't you wait? And I'm asking, waiting for what exactly? You know, so I think the dynamics were sort of different. And then I found myself also, like when you're preparing for various engagements, I think your level of preparation as a woman is higher.
There's no room for error.
Oh,
for
no.
women.
And it starts with even just physical appearance.
We were talking about that earlier. As we were getting dressed, we were like,
a man
just wing it.
No, a
His
man
hair,
just
makeup,
shows up and, you know.
shoes.
But for a woman, and you can actually get punished and judged for the little things. I know that as a leader, I need to look like one. But surely if you don't like the color of my shirt today or the shape of my earrings, is that reason enough? You know, and I think that those are challenges that women actually face. Walking into a room, the very first thing that people will be looking at, you know, even before you open your mouth to share your idea, your vision, is first of all, is what does she look like? Do I like the way that she looks? And I think that men don't face those sorts of challenges. That's my view. Yeah, so those were the sorts of things that I had to face going into the race. I was dealing also with just the fear of rejection. When you're talking to people and asking them for their support and their vote, you know, some people will be, I call it gracious enough to say no. You know, I don't support you. And I think that's better than saying, oh, no, I do, and then they don't. But it's just that you would speak to people and they actually tell you no, you know. But I thought to myself, how to overcome that is, even when I thought of myself as being the president of LAS, I said rejection or criticism is something that you can still face as a leader. So I might as well learn how to deal with it, even running for office. So, you know, your fear of failure, your rejection as you engage with people, your criticism as well, you know, just dealing with being criticized for everything. And some of it was valuable. You learn quite a lot about where perhaps your vision or your manifesto is lacking, or where you as an individual could improve. But some of the criticism is just criticism for the sake of it. And one of the peculiar challenges that I had, I think now with the rise of social media and just this instant thing that people can do, they can attack you at any time of the day, at any point. So I faced a bit of that. I know it's called trolls now. People just post anything, say anything, no holds barred. And I had to learn how to sort of filter through all of that, because it can get very discouraging. At some point you even wonder, why did I start this journey? You know, if people are saying all these things about me. But then again, I thought of it as, even when I do take office, it's the same thing. So why should I shy away from it now? I'll pick what's useful in the criticism and you know, what's valuable, and use it to improve what I can in terms of my vision and my personal abilities. But let me not focus on it. And part of the work of my team and the people that surrounded me were, they would read through all of that.
Sift through the noise.
Yes, because I said, if I sit and read through this, I am just going to get bogged down and wear myself out.
Exactly.
So I had people who could sift through it and then say, okay, out of today's engagement, the take home is this. And I discovered that it's really important to surround yourself with people who are looking out for you. Because now going back post the election to some of the things that were being said, I said to myself, it's just as well. Because I think some of the comments, some of the engagements were a bit harsh, a bit personal, and I would have gotten discouraged. But thankfully, working with people who were able to just sift through some of the things, and let's focus on the big picture, the journey. Let's focus on what the vision is and what the plan is for the association. So running for office it's not easy. Yeah, it's not easy. But for me, I think coming out of that race is a whole different it's a whole different me. And I encourage people to put themselves forward, because even if you don't win, you still win.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you still come out a different person. I think I'm stronger, more resilient. Yeah, so that for me was the plus coming out of the race. I didn't win, but I'm certainly not the same person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think let's just unpack that a little bit. You talked about the modern day campaigning. You have to deal with social media, as well as people in person that you have to persuade. But I want to touch a little bit on the social media aspect, because in my life and in my work, I'm a strong advocate against cyberbullying, because I think it's very destructive.
Yeah.
You know, you've got this nameless, faceless people who are keyboard warriors posting all manner of harmful things that can be very damaging.
Yeah.
And certainly in my work, my philosophy is, as you were saying yourself, don't read the comments.
Yeah.
You know, don't do it. Because it's just mostly not helpful. But it is helpful because sometimes you need feedback, right?
Yeah.
So it's a good plan to have people who can sift through, filter, and see if there's anything of substance that is useful.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to touch on the aspect of the transformation I think you've gone through this process. Like you said, you didn't win, but I can attest, as somebody who has known you for many years, to having seen a whole other side to Ngosa that I probably didn't actually know you had. And for that alone, you deserve a round of applause. I think you really, really put yourself out there. You really, you gave it your all. And I'm very proud of everything that you did. And you know, I've said to you before, you may not have won, but I think the prize is really what you learn and what you discover about yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was amazing.
And thank you so much for those kind words. When you talk about winning, one of the things, I know like you keep saying I didn't win, but one of the things that I did win, number one, is just knowledge of myself and my abilities. Number two is I think I won the hearts of those who voted for me and believed in me. And even those who are non-lawyers, some of the feedback that I get still, I'm still running my Facebook page. I thought I would shut it down and just revert to my personal one. But there's quite a lot of engagement on that. And some of the feedback, even from the younger lawyers, from people who are non-lawyers, is you made me believe that it's actually possible to put myself forward and to run a very clean and honorable race that's about ideas and nothing else. So for me, that's a very big prize. And every time that I meet someone who said, you inspired me, you motivated me, I think your journey is incredible, it makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely.
All worthwhile. For me, it's mission accomplished. If I did one thing, and that's to inspire particularly the younger women still in the pipeline to put themselves forward, and to probably do things a little differently than I did. They probably saw where things could have been better. But the bottom line is put yourself forward. Never, never fear. Don't hesitate. Don't doubt yourself. So that's a very big prize for me. Very, very happy camper.
Great. But let's also talk about yourself. What would you, looking back, have done differently?
Yeah. To be honest, I think I should have spoken for myself a little bit more. And I tell you why. Some of the engagements, particularly on social media, yes, people did a very great job to sift what was deemed as important for us to respond to, for us to. But I think there were certain areas where I should have been speaking more about myself, and also just getting comfortable with the word I. I think I struggled a little bit with that because I'm big on teamwork and working with others, but sometimes I need to be able to say, I did this, I initiated this, and I built the team that did this.
So I led the team.
Yes. So I think that I should have, looking back, I should have felt more comfortable talking about my personal achievements and the things that I led and did. Because sometimes, depending on how the campaign is going, you find that all that gets shrouded in, but you were a team. But specifically, there were things that I did, and I should have been able to sell that a little bit more. So that was one of the big takeaways from the campaign. Yeah.
Do you think you should have started campaigning a lot sooner?
Yes, that definitely would have helped. Of course, within the sort of rules that govern the association. But I think you can begin signaling. You can begin making your intentions known. You can begin putting yourself out there a little earlier. That definitely does help. So I agree.
Okay. So we've talked about your personal journey. This podcast was sparked by my memoir about my experiences being in office and running for office. And in my book, Women Resilient in the Will to Lead, I talk about why it's important for more women to step into leadership positions. What is your position on that? What do you think? Why is it important for women to put themselves up for leadership positions?
One of the statistics that I came across just in my journey and in making the decisions to run for higher office is that organizations where women participate more are actually very, very successful, and that was very encouraging. So we shouldn't doubt our abilities to bring change. I think women are better at managing crisis. I think women are collaborators. They build teams. They build better organizations. And I think we have earned our seat at the table. We are well able. And women should aspire for higher and higher office. Let's not get comfortable. One of the discussions actually that I had coming into the campaign, this question has reminded me of it, is why aren't you satisfied as vice president?
Do you know, I had the same question
So
asked to me. and I wasn't even going up against somebody who was going for re-election. I mean, we'll exchange stories.
Yes.
Okay, carry on.
So I was a bit like, why would I be? You know, like a woman, you've been vice president, it's enough.
Yes.
And I said, no,
Exactly.
it's not enough. You know, you tell me why it should be enough. Would you be saying the same thing to a man? Would you be saying, you've been vice president, sir, stop here, you can retire, you've done well for yourself? I said, no. I need to be able to show people that we are capable. I need to be able to tell my daughters that why should someone limit you and tell you that this is where it stops for you, and because you're a woman, you should be happy that you even got here, you know? So I said, what sort of an example will I be setting for people? So I think it's important to demonstrate, women in leadership, it demonstrates to everyone coming, all the women coming in the pipeline, that it's possible, number one. Number two, that you are capable, and you shouldn't shy away. Don't let society or anyone just limit you and say, because you're a woman, it stops here for you. So I'm looking forward to the day that we'll have a woman as Republican president. Let's not stop at, you know, you can be vice president and that's also, why not? You know, that's the question I was asking most people I was engaging with, actually. I said, why not? You tell me why you think I should be satisfied with this. And to be honest, most didn't have an answer.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
You know, when I was running as president of the Law Association of Zambia, I was the vice president at the time. And the same thing, a woman came up to me and said, actually, I'm not even sure I'd put myself out there. I asked her what her career aspirations were, because she was just about to graduate, and she said she still didn't know what she wanted to do. And I said, oh, I was joking with her. I said, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And she said to me, you're vice president, that's enough, you know? And I'm actually a little surprised that people are still asking that question.
They still are. This is how many years later, you
because
know.
When I was running, there hadn't been a female president before. So you can kind of understand that people can't imagine it. But after that's happened, you've had a woman in office, it's puzzling that people are still asking that question.
Yeah, they still are.
Yeah, but actually one thing I did see that was different in this race is I thought there was less of a question around a woman's ability. I thought people were more open to it.
They were, that's true. And to be honest, going into the race, some of the feedback that I received was, okay, we thought all you're going to be talking about is how you are a woman.
Right.
So we're actually very impressed that it's not something you are fronting, as it were. You're focused more on your abilities, and you're focused more on where you want to take the association. And the fact that you're a female or you're a woman is by the way. So yes, to your point, they were more receptive, but I still feel that there were some areas where, you know, the voters were a bit harsh because
you're a woman. Absolutely. And a lot of it is actually even unconscious bias.
Yeah.
Because if you ask those same people who are asking you funny questions, whether they think they're sexist, they'll tell you no.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
it's very true.
Okay, so we're drawing to the close now. You mentioned earlier, or just now, your two daughters, Chimwemwe and Kanisa. Wow. You know, it's still a man's world.
Yeah.
But I want to find out for you, what is your greatest hope for your daughters?
You know, when I think about their two different personalities, as it were, before I answer your question, I have one daughter who reminds me of sort of the old me, because I know coming out of this, I'm a new person. The old me, she's a bit, you know, reserved. She questions herself a lot and her abilities. Even when you talk about grades and things like that, you can see that that self-confidence may be lacking. Then I've got one daughter who's a little bit like the new me, you know. So when
whatever it is now.
So now when I look at them, I'm like, okay, this is so fascinating that there's one who's, you know, the old and one who's the new. What I'm hoping for them is that they should never doubt themselves. I know the world is a little different for the woman and the woman who aspires to be a leader, but they should never doubt themselves. Just build on their capacity to do things, be able to put themselves out there. Now, don't be shy about your achievements. Don't belittle them. If it's you who did it, you did it.
You did it.
Exactly.
Yes.
You know, and just be able to tell your own story and dream big, really. You can have anything, can be anything, anyone that you want to be. As long as your heart is in the right place, you have the ability, do it. And that's really, really my hope for them. And my little one, Kanyisa, is always the why person. And as a toddler, I always find this question very, like, you can't do this, why? But I learned that going into the campaign, it was actually a very helpful sort of question to be asking people. So I hope that she continues challenging certain beliefs and asking why. Why not? So that's my greatest hope for them. I hope that they will be able to achieve whatever they set their minds to and conquer the world.
I love it. I love it. And maybe for Chimwemwe, who doubts herself, how do you think you can instill in her that confidence?
I think a lot of positive feedback. That's what really, really helped me, is people giving me feedback and also recollecting for me the things that I did well. It's so easy to focus on the negative voices about how you can't do certain things. But I think if you focus on what you can do well and sort of grow that in you, I think it's easier to grow that confidence as well. So I'm hoping to be able to give her feedback on the things that she does exceptionally well, so that she doesn't focus on what she doesn't do well, and then she can grow in those areas.
Well, they're both lucky to have such a wonderful example.
Thank you.
To follow.
Thank you
so
so
we
much.
look forward to seeing two powerful women come out of it.
Yes. Certainly.
Great.
We're taking a short break. We'll be right back.
General Insurance. Protect what you cherish most. Sign up for FNB's Her Banking Insurance for your house and household contents insurance needs. As a female customer of FNB, you get cover on your home and on your household valuables with Her Banking Insurance. T's and C's apply. At FNB, we believe in helping every woman rise and are here to support you. FNB, how can we help you?
How can we help you?
So lastly, Ngosa, it's been wonderful talking to you, but all good things must come to an end.
Yes.
And so the people want to know, what's next for Ngosa?
What's next? I'm very passionate. I think in my intro I talked about how I'm a passionate, patriotic and purposeful sort of person. And to be honest, right now I am taking this time to sort of breathe through what I've learned. But I know that when you are a certain type of person, a certain type of leader, certain things will come to you. You'll be asked to take on tasks. So I'm very open to doing that, because I'm still passionate about my association, the Law Association of Zambia. So I know I'll find a way to get plugged in. I'm very passionate about mentoring, because I'm a product of mentorship and just inspiration and leadership. So I think you will find me along one of those paths. That's what's really next for me, growing the next generation of women leaders and doing my part in that. Yeah.
That's really lovely to hear. Ngosa, we wish you all the best in your endeavors.
So
and we can't wait. We can't wait to see where you land. It's been such a joy seeing you blossom. So well done to you, and thank you for being such a shining example to not just women out there, but also men.
No, thank you for this opportunity, for your kind words, and all the work that you also do. Just raising leaders in the country, in the profession, for your book, for sharing your story, and also giving us this opportunity to share our story. So thank you so much for that. It's been a pleasure being here.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was another episode of Women, Resilience and the Will to Lead. Look out for our episodes online on Spotify and YouTube. Thank you for your support. Thank you for tuning in to Women, Resilience and the Will to Lead. I'd like to thank our production team, Teen Kings Media, and our sponsors, FNB Zambia. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and press the subscribe button.